Can I build a $40,000 race car for less than $20,000? And that is the question that I asked myself when I bought this RS Focus from Pickles Auctions at a final price of less than $12,000. And when it came with around 10 grand worth of modifications, I thought I was onto a winner. With only a couple $1,000s in parts required to get it back onto the road, I set out to build this car and have a 400 horsepower track demon for less than $20,000. A car that had a value of around $40,000 on the private market. So over a couple of episodes, I set to building this car, and that leads us to the final episode today, where we finish the build and get it on the road. Welcome back. Today we're putting the factory dump pipe, factory, back on the Focus. Well, not back on, because this isn't the one that came off, but it's going on because this has a catless downpipe. Can't get it past inspection unless it's got a damn cat on it. So we have to demodify it, put a factory turbo downpipe on it, get it past inspection, and then obviously keep it as factory and as law-abiding as possible. Now, on the last episode, I pretty much did everything to get this ready for inspection, including installing these little headlight washer nozzle caps, and look, the clear coat just started peeling off. I think that was just from the guy that painted the bumper. The clear just didn't stick really too well to it, which is okay. It's getting rectified when the bonnet gets painted. But this headlight also failed because the internals are all loose and it just points the headlight right at the ground. So we're gonna pull this headlight out, and I scored one for $400 delivered to my door, which is an absolute steal for one of these headlights. So I'm gonna put the new one in, but I'm not showing that, it's a headlight changeover, simple shit. What we're doing is this turbo dump pipe, which I'll just need to take this off. Pretty much just take this intake pipe off. Gives me access to the back of the turbo where I can fandangle the 2 bolts holding it on, and thankfully it is just 2 bolts. And then we will jack this car off, jack this car up, get underneath it, undo the 2 bolts that hold that there, and slide it out. Hopefully I can get it up high enough that I can slide that out. Should be no worries. Slide that one in, out, ding, dang, done. And we should be ready to go. This is booked in for an inspection tomorrow morning. And I learnt my lesson from last time. I booked the inspection first thing in the morning, and I was rushing that morning to fix some stuff before leaving. So I thought, I'll book it for midday. Give me time in the morning to fix anything up if I'm still, I don't know, if something happens and I need to fix something up. Then I forgot I also booked a dentist appointment 6 months ago, and that happens to fall on tomorrow morning, slightly before the inspection for this, which eliminates my morning, so I have to drive this early. So essentially, this has got to be ready by today. So we've not got time to waste. I'm just going to get straight into it. All right, I must admit, I went into this thinking it would be an incredibly simple job, just 2 bolts at the back of the turbo to take the dump pipe off, and then 1 clamp down the bottom and should slide straight out. However, it turned out to be one of my top 5 most hated jobs to ever do on a car, because the turbo dump pipe is just pointed at an angle that makes it difficult to get the bolts, and you can't really get a ratchet on there. This video is sped up 500%, and you can still see how slow it is to get this nut off. I had to use my phone with the video on just to be able to see, and then I was looking at the phone whilst maneuvering the socket around. Did not enjoy, 10 out of 10, do not recommend. But I will say a lot of that came from just getting on the floor and trying to do it underneath the car with limited room. So if I had a hoist, this would have been much easier, and as you'll see, there was a bracket that got in my way and made things just that little bit more difficult than they needed to be. See, not for road use. So that's going straight back on after the inspection. The only way to get it out from underneath the car without taking out the sensors, because I don't have, actually I've got a 22mm socket, I probably should have just modified it, cut the slit in it, that would have made it way easier. Anyways, I didn't do that. So there was this bracket here. Now the factory one doesn't have that. And this bracket was just, it made the pipe stick up by that much more, which just couldn't clear out. From underneath the car, it was impossible to get it out. If I had taken that sensor out, which probably would have made it easier, but I actually looked at that and thought I didn't have time to get that off. I thought I could just quickly whip it out, and then proceeded to spend half an hour scooting around trying to get it out because of this. So I'll just cut that off fully, tidy it up. Factory one doesn't have it. I'm assuming that's just got it there just for extra stability. It is a Miltech system designed for some pretty harsh use. So I guess, and it would take some weight off the back of the turbo, but factory one with a cat doesn't have it. I'm sure it can handle a much lighter weight version. So I'll get this factory one in. This should be a little bit easier to get in. Let's get it in.
When I said this is in my top 5 most hated jobs to do, it wasn't in getting the Miltech pipe out, it was in putting the factory pipe back in that made me hate it, because the turbine housing is pointing at a slight angle towards the firewall and you can't actually see what you're doing. So I was working blind the whole time, and very limited room, it made it almost impossible to tell what angle I was putting the bolt in to the back of the turbo. So it took hours. Eventually I just stopped filming, I just put the camera away and just went ham and tried to get it done. And I did get it done eventually after a lot of swearing and a lot of tantrums. Got the factory pipe back in, mounted up, and by then it was time to have dinner, get ready for the next day where I would take it to get inspected and hopefully get it passed and finally registered.
And finally, it is done. Well, aside from the black bonnet, it's getting painted in like 2 or 3 weeks, but it's registered, it's finished. I can drive it now on the streets, and you'll see that I went with the 1552 tarmac wheels. I did leave them in the background of my previous video, just as a little Easter egg. Someone did see that and they pointed it out in the comments. These wheels were pretty much made for this car, and I had to complete the look and get these rims. Not only that, it also helps sell the car. It helps it stand out in the sea of cars on Facebook Marketplace. So when I do go to sell this car, it stands out, and hopefully it sells a little bit quicker and for a little bit more money. I will keep the other rims and tires for a track day, and I think it looks pretty cool. Like I said in the last episode, the exhaust is the only thing that puts me off driving this. I'm going to drive this to the airport tomorrow at 4 a.m. when I leave for work, and I'm not looking forward to waking up the whole neighborhood when it cold starts at 4 a.m. But I think the biggest question on everyone's mind is, how much did it cost me to get here? Why didn't I just buy an already registered RS Focus and save myself the heartache and troubles? And whilst I don't know the exact figure, because there was a point where I just stopped counting, there were a couple of mistakes made, i.e. buying a bonnet that didn't fit, getting it painted, and then having that whole situation, having to buy a whole other bonnet. A couple of things, the headlights was a whole situation in itself. So there was some wasted money on this build. However, I can say that the entire build, rims and all, was less than $22,000. But when you consider that one of these completely stock and factory sells for around the $35,000 mark with these same Ks, not only have I saved myself 15 grand off just the base RS model, this has the rims and tires and all the modifications done to it, the exhaust, the mount tune intake, the intercooler, the tune, all these little things that have been done to it just add to the value. So we're looking at around 40 grand value for 20 grand. And whether you like the car or not, I think that's pretty bloody good. Now you can see I have done some other little finishing touches, like the RS on the wings. I have gone through Gel Badges Australia and gotten some white RS gel badges, not only for the wings, but also for the rear badge and the front badge as well. Now I went with the white badges, obviously, because of the white wheels. I think just those little highlights helps it tie in the whole car. Now, the black bonnet and the yellow mount tune badge, it kind of just distorts that a little bit. So once the bonnet gets painted in the nitrous blue, same as the rest of the car, I might actually pry these mount tune badges off. I mean, the intercooler has mount tune straight across it, so it's not like I need to advertise to the world this says mount tune. Now, if you are a Euro hatchback enthusiast, you'll have to excuse me talking about modifications by these confusing terms like intercooler, intake, wheels, color matching. To speak in your language, stage 3.25. Whole vehicle, stage 3.25. Ooga booga. Fuck! Holy shit! Fucking hell! Back home now before I lose my license, but God, what a car this is. I wasn't fully convinced on it when I was driving it around previously, and that was just because of how comfortable it was, but I see now why. It's a race car, it's a track car, especially the way that it's set up at the moment. It yearns for the track. So the next track day is in a month's time, which works perfectly because then the bonnet will be painted. I'll take it to the track and then I can put it up for sale. But I'm not making any promises. And you might be thinking, well, if you're going to keep this car until then, what are you going to do between then? Obviously, I've got the XA, but if you stayed until the very last second of the last video, you would have seen the new car that I bought. Now, if you're wondering why I've gone and bought another car, well, for anyone that knows me, I love old school cars. I love old school things. And that's why I'm building the XA Falcon in there. That's why I've got the XC Ute there. But I am selling the XC Ute. Now, I know there is a story attached to that car. You know, I used to own it many, many years ago, and then I bought it back. I got it shipped over the other side of the country, and yeah, realistically, I can't restore 2 old muscle cars in my little garage. This isn't just like a salvage build where I can do a couple of little things and then get it re-registered. Those are full builds. They require a workshop for just one of them, let alone 2. So I am definitely keeping the XA. I'm still working on the XA, but I've gone and gotten this because I just need something to drive. I needed something to go to lunch in on a Sunday. And I needed something to put all the cool stuff that I've bought for the XA. I need to put that somewhere because I need to take the XA apart to complete doing the panel work on it. And where am I going to put that? I'm not just going to let a big lumpy V8 engine, 9-inch rear end, Willwood front disc brakes. I'm not just going to let them sit around. Got to put them on something. This car starts first time every time, with a little bit of choke, of course. Sugar, what's this? Now, whilst I'd love to go into this car, that'll be for the next video where we'll start the build on that. I've already taken it over the pits. I've got a list of things that I need to fix before I can get it registered here in Western Australia. But it currently has New South Wales rego, and that's good enough for me to just cruise around and enjoy it for the time being. But in the meantime, if you enjoyed the build of the Focus, let me know. Give the video a like. Hopefully you enjoyed it enough to subscribe to the channel. And if it's not your thing, well then the XC Falcon surely is going to be your thing. Old school muscle cars is everyone's thing. And that will be the next video, starting work on the XC sedan and making that a bit of a street cruiser. So until then, thank you for watching this video. Thank you for watching the series if you've kept up with the full RS build. And I'll see you guys on the next video where we break down the XC, not break down the XC. I hope I don't break down the XC sedan. I hope I don't break down.